What's up, Internet? Kern 1776 here in the woods with a vidja for you. Probably wondering, hey man, what kind of tent is that? Who makes that tent? It's actually just a tarp, just a square, flat tarp. But it is a very cool square flat tarp. Has lots of tie-outs and it's perfectly square, 3 by 3, just shy of 10 feet. You can make all kinds of shelters with this thing. This here is just a tarp tent. Pretty simple to make. You can do it with or without a ridgeline. I'm gonna show you how in this here video. So let's get going, shall we? All right, so here is the tarp, or the tarpaulin, as they say across the pond there. The DD tarp 3 by 3. So it's 3 meters by 3 meters. It's got 19 freaking tiles. So that's what really sets this tarp design apart from a typical tarp. A lot of tarps out there just have 5 connection points. They have one in the center, or none in the center, and one on each corner, or just a few grommets around with nothing in the center. This has 19 points that you can tie out to. Tons, and I mean tons, of shelter possibilities with this because it's square and it has 19 tie outs on it. So, oh, Rona. Don't have Rona. I'm gonna take this thing out of the bag, we'll lay it out, and I'll show you how to make the shelter with and without a ridgeline. So you can make this shelter if you're not in the woods, as long as you can find a stick or you have a hiking pole or a trekking pole with you or something like that. It'll be one of many videos that I have coming that show you how to make different types of shelters with a tarp like this. It's gonna be freaking cool. So I tried to find as flat and level a spot as I could. I'm gonna be quite honest with you, there's no such thing as that on my property. Although I do live in the low country, I do live in southeast Georgia, typically not hilly, but there's not a single dead burn spot on my property that's flat, level, or whatever. Take it out of the bag. There goes your pegs. Pegs and your guy ropes are in here. So what I want to show you real quick is the stitching. The stitching on this is done very well. It's all reinforced, stitching all the way down. Hopefully you can see that. Very good stitching. And again, tie outs, freaking everywhere. Although it's square, you do have a run in the center. We'll call it the ridgeline area, if you will, where it's stitched. That's the only area that's stitched other than the edges, right? And then you'll see here on the inside, because you've got 3 tie outs along the center, that's your stitching there. So reinforced, taped, and double stitched. All right, so as you can see here, you got tie outs, tie out, tie out, tie out, tie out, all the way around. And we've got one in the center here, one quarter ways down, there. That's key. The other thing that's key about it is having a square tarp. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna show you guys how I set up my ridgeline real quick. I keep kind of a pre-put together ridgeline with some prusik knots, just so that I don't have to do that all the time. I can easily just deploy it. So we'll show you that now. Then we'll get the tarp positioned so we can make our tarp tent. Here I have my ridgeline. All right, so my ridgeline, I've got a loop here tied. Of course, my working end, I've got it thrown out there, and I've got a little stick that I'm going to use as a toggle. So I'm going to go around the tree with my loop. Okay, I'm going to create a bite. If you don't know the difference between a loop and a bite doesn't cross. It's just like this. Lines parallel, that's a bite. If it crosses or it ties there, it's a loop. Round tree. Create a bite, or just stick your fingers through and grab the working end. Create your bite, put your toggle through the bite, tighten it to the loop. So all you're doing is, you're not tying a knot, you're just creating a tension with a bite through that loop. That way when you're ready to go, all you got to do is pull your toggle out and it comes off. No worrying about knots. All right, so through, create a bite, loop, toggle, boom. And then we go to the other side. Okie dokie, we on the other side now. So, get to the other side, here's my tree. I'm gonna make trucker's hitch. I like using trucker's hitches. Trucker's hitches, sounds funny. But I like doing the trucker's hitch. There's other knots you can do on this side, but I like the trucker's hitch. I can get it as tight as I want and it doesn't go anywhere. So to do that, put your hand over the line, create a loop, right? Because my line is crossing. If I do this, I'm creating a loop, right? Grab your working end. Technically, you're making a bite. Pull it through some and go towards your tree. Go towards where you're going to pull. If you do the same thing and you go away from where you're pulling from, when you go in it and you start to pull, the loop is going to collapse and tighten down into a knot. So this is the best part about it. When I'm done, just snatch it and it comes loose. Make a loop, reach through, make a bite, go towards where you're pulling. And that's what we created right there. All right, so now you go around the tree. I can go through my loop. All right, now I can pull and get this ridge line banjo tight if that's what I want. So I tighten it. Now I'm going to pinch all the lines. Didn't say lions, I said lines. That's Southern for lines. I got it pulled, right? I got 1, 2, 3, counting this loop. I'm going to pinch it here. I'm going to create a loop. You gotta pinch it tight. All right, I'm gonna create a loop over, or technically that's a bite over, grab my line. So that's kind of the whole like gist of this video so far. Bites, loops, pull throughs, right? Lay it over, reach through, grab it, pull it away from the tree, and boom. Boing, banjo tight. Now if you want, you can tie just a half hitch security loop there. It's not necessary. It's not going anywhere as long as you don't yank on this. So to get it down, you yank on the working end, it pops through. You yank on it again, the trucker's hitch knot disappears. You go over there, you pull your toggle, you're done. And yes, I'm walking on the tarp. Tarp needs to be durable. It's okay to walk on it. What I always keep on my ridgeline, this isn't necessarily needed to do this shelter, this tarp tent, but I just keep these on here, right? So I've got prusik knots. So when I'm say I was tying this tarp up to do a shelter over a hammock or something like that, I can just use toggles on the loops and tighten these up. When you pull to the side, they don't slide. If you want to do that. Make your ridge line 25, 30 foot long. Of course, you're not going to span that every time, but diameters of trees add up when you're running a ridge line. Put you some prusik knots on there, leave it all on there. When you roll it up and you're good to go, all you got to do is quickly deploy a ridge line, just like that. Let's get to the shelter, shall we? Since I'm going to show you how to do this first with a ridge line, I'm going to back the tent up, or the tarp up some, which might get me in that trash back there, all them sticks and everything, I don't know. Because I want to be at the second tie out or first tie out on the ridge line to create my peaks. I think that's good. All right, so we're gonna grab our pegs and our guy lines here. So we got 4 pegs and 4 guy lines. And I got more pegs. Let's do our first pegging. Let's peg it. We're gonna go over here to the back corners first. How y'all like that zit right there? 44 years old, still breaking out, going into the rut, second rut, deer season. Here's my corner, okay? Here's my corner. I'm gonna go to the second one. I'm gonna stake that down. I'm gonna do the same thing on the other side. I'm gonna go to the second one and stake it down. Stake it down. Okay, so now I'm in the front now. I went to the second one from the corner. So here's my front right corner. Here's my second one, straight in front of the one I pegged over there. I'm not gonna use this one. I'm gonna grab the one in the corner. I'm gonna put my finger where this loop is. And I'm gonna put this one, the corner one, there. Stake it out. I'm at my second one. Here's my corner, front left corner. Here's my next tie out. It's the same directly across where I did my first peg. I want to put my finger where this one is, take the corner, and stake it out where that second one was at. So you're going to need more than 4 pegs to do this. So I went and grabbed some more of my pegs here. All right, now I'm back at the first corner that we pegged. We pegged that guy right there, right? So now what I'm gonna do, here's my corner. Right there is where I pegged. Here's my corner. I'm gonna go to the next one. I'm gonna stake it out. And then I'm gonna take the corner and I'm gonna tuck it under. I'm gonna do the same on the other side. Take the flap, the corner, tuck it in underneath. All right, so now we're getting to the point where this starts making some sense. Start actually looking like a tent, okay? I think I put my ridgeline up too high, but that's okay because the way I put the ridgeline up, it's easy to take down and put back up again. I'm gonna grab this second loop in. Here's the front loop, here's the second loop in the middle. I'm gonna pull it up and get an idea about to my rib cage. So I need to bring this down just a little bit. It's okay, it's quick and easy. I'll show you. Show you how quick and easy this is. Get about where my rib cage was-ish. Might be pretty close. Back to the other side. Just like that. Just like that. Put my back to you. Back to the other side. I think that's pretty close. Pull it, pinch, over, through, boom, done. All right. That was easy. I'll grab my center loop. Oh yeah, it's way closer. Way better. Now we just need another toggle. Oh, look, found a toggle. Maybe that'll work. Grab one of my trusty Prisic knots. And grab the center, the first center tie out. Put the toggle through the Prisic and onto the loop of there. Starting to look like a tent now, huh? Yeah, boy. We're gonna tie a guy line to that and go down. So the guy lines do come with this tensioner so that you can tension your guy line, which is nice. So what I'm gonna do again is on this end, I'm just gonna tie a simple loop. use toggle again on the front. Toggle. Loop. Toggle through the loop. Guy line over the toggle. And there we go, right? And when you do this, be sure that the rope that you're tying to the toggled end is on the string or the webbing or whatever it is that you're attaching it to. It's not pulling necessarily on the toggle. It's pulling on the strap. The toggle's just not allowing it to go any further. So there's not really a lot of stress on that toggle there. But anyway, there's our front coming together. We're starting to look like a tent. All right, so now what we're going to do is we're going to get another one of the guy lines. We're going to go to this next loop from where we just toggled out, and we're going to take it back there to that back stake that we just had. Through the Tarp's loop, guy line loop, over the toggle. We're going to pull it back here and go into our stake. Same on the other side. And now you just peg out the rest as you wish. And if you're lucky enough for your guy line to be long enough to go to a tree or something, you can do that, but I'm not so lucky right now. So we're just gonna do it like this. And there you have it. A tent made from a tarp. Isn't that cool? So, again, ridiculously versatile. Just to get you a better look at what I did back here. I did a toggle through those loops to a stake to help kind of pull that up a little bit. And of course, if you want more headroom versus width and length, you could, cheat the tarp in a little bit more to make the door a little smaller, blah, blah, blah. But you get the idea. Rather spacious. Let me climb in there and see. But anyway, plenty of space to lay down and stay covered. It's a shelter, right? That's what it's for. Of course, if you have another tarp or your bedroll and things like that to help insulate you from the ground, you'll want to do that too. But I think it's pretty freaking cool. And it's because it's square and it's got lots of tie-outs. I'm gonna show you real quick how to do this without a ridge line. All I gotta do is disconnect that one ridge line there. So all you need is hiking pole or a stick, from out in the woods. Be sure to chamfer the ends of the stick, or put a cap, or maybe take the bag that the tarp was in, kind of ball it up, put it on top so you don't accidentally like puncture your tarp. But anyway, if you use hiking poles or trekking poles, this is a great way to use them in a tent situation. So all you do is go in there, extend the pole up. You want to put it right on that loop right there, because that's where all that reinforcement and everything is, and the stitching and all. So that's a good place for the pole to be. And that's it. I mean, you can extend it even more if you can. So it does the same thing. You just have a pole on the inside, right? Which some people may not want that pole right there. If I don't have to have that and I can run a ridgeline, that's what I'll do. But if you're out in the middle of a field and you don't have trees, or you're in the desert, or I don't know, you can use a stick or a trekking pole. Well, there you go. You got yourself a tarp tent. Really cool way to set up a shelter. There's other ways to set up this shelter. You can set up this similar that actually is smaller, but you actually have a ground sheet or a ground cover using the tent. And I'll show that to you some other time as well. But consider this the first vidya of many of different ways to use this type of tarp, a perfectly square tarp with lots of tie-outs, to make all kinds of different types of shelters. If you got one in mind, or if you have a favorite, if this is something that you know about and you do, comment down below and let me know what your favorite type of tarp shelter setup is, and I'll try to be sure to include that in the list. A lot of the stuff in survival needs to be multifunctional, right? And a tarp is kind of like a handkerchief. You could do a lot of things with a tarp, especially shelters. Really helps if they're square and have a lot of tie-out. All of that. As always, I appreciate you guys watching. If you don't mind, please like this video, share it with your friends, hit the subscribe button. Be sure to hit the bell icon so you'll be notified when I do more videos, especially with tarps. And I'll see you next time. Love you, mean it. I'm going to get the rest of my stuff and probably stay here tonight.